Hey guys, I'm cmasupra and welcome to another Company of Heroes 2 multiplayer video. And for this game I decided to show you guys the live gameplay with a post commentary rather than showing you the replay like I normally do. And the reason for that is because this game was very micro intensive and my opponent really put the pressure on me to control all of my units at the same time, which is physically impossible, but I tried my best to do it. And it was just so difficult for me to do. I felt like showing you the live gameplay would help accentuate the fact that it was really difficult for me to control all my units at once. And so I want to show you guys the live gameplay for this game. Now, I do want to go ahead and mention that I ended up winning this game because this is one of those games that I just won't be able to commentate unless I go ahead and spoil that for you, because if I try to keep it a secret, there's so many things I want to explain but won't be able to explain that it really won't be a very good video. So I'm going to go ahead and spoil that I ended up winning this game, but it was a very, very difficult win for me. So it's not going to be a one-sided game or anything like that at all. Anyways, I am playing as the Russians, in case you haven't noticed yet. My opponent is the Germans, and we are playing on Minsk Pocket. That is the name of the map. And this map basically has three lanes, one on the left, one in the middle, one on the right, between the two bases. And so it makes for some interesting games. Despite having three lanes as well, MGs do not dominate the map. They're pretty good, but they don't dominate the map. So we will be seeing some MGs by our German opponent, by the way. I believe the first unit out of his Tier 1 building ended up being an MG this game. I didn't check the replay because I didn't really feel like I needed to, but I'm pretty sure his first unit was an MG. The first unit I saw was an MG in any case, so we will be seeing a few MGs by my opponent, and he uses them pretty effectively. That actually brings up a topic I want to talk about since there's not much going on here in the video. So I played a whole bunch of games yesterday and today as the Russians, and basically every single game I played, the German players started with an MG, and they used it very effectively, and a lot of times they'd build three MGs before building anything else. I don't know, has the metagame changed? Like, are Grenadiers outdated now? People just build MG42s all over the place and call it good enough because it counters anything the Russians can throw at them except for the scout cars, but the scout cars are pretty weak. I assume that they were weakened in an update recently. Maybe that's what caused the MG spam. I don't know, but it seems like a lot of people who play Germans are going MG spam lately. Maybe I'm just getting lucky or unlucky, because MG spam is hard to deal with, but at the same time it makes your opponent have a weak spot against vehicles. And so, anyways, here we have our first engagement. It is an MG42. Like I said, it's the first unit I saw from my enemy versus conscript, and I managed to oorah away, spend 5 munitions to run away really, really fast. And I got lucky there that the ridge was a shot blocker. Sadly, here in the middle, I did not get so lucky. I walked right into his MG, so I had to retreat from the middle. But as you can see on the left here, I'm trying to find a way to get on the left side with this conscript squad, and then I see the whole thing is a ridge line, so there's no easy way for me to get to the left, so I say, screw it, I'm going to the middle. And then I go over here to focus on the right. Well, I guess now I'm at my base, but I focused on the right, and I was winning this battle until the MG42 showed up. So at this point, we've seen 3 MG42s from my opponent. I don't know what is up with the MG spam that's going on lately, but it is definitely there, and I'm getting used to dealing with it. At first, I didn't know what to do, and here you can even see me typing, what's with all the MGs tonight? Because like I said, I played games last night and tonight. I actually played this game today as I'm recording this commentary. And every German player I've seen has just used MGs. It's like Grenadiers are not the thing to go for anymore. Um, yeah, I'll mention that. I was thinking about whether or not to mention something. The bulletins, you know, those things that give your troops or your units like 2% increased accuracy or anything like that, depending on what you choose. I've chosen 3 that help my early game, but nothing that helps my late game. And the the first two I've picked are for conscripts and grenadiers. It gives them increased accuracy and increased health. And so I was hoping by having these two that my conscripts and grenadiers would pretty much always win, or at least win a little bit more often. Not always win, but win a little bit more often against the opposing unit that my player has. that my player has, no, that my opponent has. That doesn't really seem to be the case, though. I don't know, maybe it is helping, maybe it isn't helping. But the reason I wanted to mention this is because I know some people say that bulletins are overpowered, but really they're not. Um, they're really not. I don't, at least in my opinion, I don't really notice a difference even when I'm using them versus not using them. I don't know, that was just a tangent. Anyways, let's go back to the game. As we can see, I have Urod past this first MG here. However, there's two Grenadier squads shooting at me. There is no way I can win this fight, so I say screw it. I'm going back up towards this two-man Grenadier squad in hopes of annihilating it and then dealing with the other Grenadier squad. But sadly for me, the two-man decided to go around the hedge and into the support of his MG. So my opponent was smart there. He microed well, and his MG ended up getting my unit suppressed, and oh, this was so unlucky. If only I had seen that earlier on the right side of the map there, I would not have gotten suppressed, because his MG's fire arc was not quite facing my conscript squad. Now it is, because he moved the MG, but it wasn't. If I'd seen it earlier, I could have gone behind the MG and been able to shoot at him and kill him, rather than having him suppress me, but sadly, he suppressed me, so I had to retreat there. Now, I will go ahead and say that I have built Tier 2. I haven't bought anything out of Tier 2 yet. I'm actually building a mortar now, but I built Tier 2, and I have also built Tier 3. And the reason I've done this is for the T-70. I wanted to go with a T-70 rush to hopefully win the game really, really quickly. Sadly, that's not what happens, because, as you saw by the video linked when you clicked on the video, this is a 46-minute video, and a T-70 at 46 minutes in the game is not going to win a game. There's definitely going to be something that can kill it. So, the T-70 didn't win me the game in this game, sadly. But it did do quite a number on my opponent's infantry, so I'm going for a T-70. The reason is to deal with the MGs. The only risk with the T-70 right now is the possibility of an armored car that's upgraded, because the upgraded armored car can sometimes win against a T-70. If it's vetted, it will definitely win against a T-70, but that's really the only risk. I mean, Panzerfausts are also kind of a risk, but if you can kite, then Panzerfausts are not a risk. If you cannot kite, then Panzerfausts are a definite risk, and a T-70 is not the way to go as your first vehicle. But I would say I'm pretty good at kiting, and I actually did really well at kiting this game. So the mortar's out on the field. I have 3 conscript squads, so I'm doing the regular start for Russians. I only have 1 engineer squad. I don't ever build 2 as the Russians unless I need a second one to build buildings, because my first one is out capturing points or something on the map. Then I'll build a second one, but normally I don't need a second one. And here you can see a mistake by my opponent. He's shooting at my mortar to try and kill it with the MG, but even if you pin a mortar, it's still able to use the mortar. It's still going to shoot at you. It doesn't do any good to suppress or pin a mortar. So never do that. Manually target the other squad that was right next to the mortar. And oh, did you see that shell land on this squad that I was trying to flank with? The shell landed on the squad, made them freeze, and as a result they ended up in front of the MG. The MG just had enough time to set up and suppress that squad, so that really sucked. My own mortar hurt me. And it's kind of my fault, because I told the mortar to barrage the area rather than shoot at the MG. I told it to barrage the area around where the MG was. So it's kind of my fault, but that sucked. That was a failed flank. Luckily though, the MG ran away, and it's going back here. And now I have a T-70 on the field, as you can see, and I'm going to chase down this MG and kill the whole squad. That would be awesome, because annihilating a full squad this early is really going to hurt your opponent. He's going to be behind a squad, and being behind a squad in the early game is a terrible, terrible thing. Sadly though, he gets away, because retreating makes you a little bit faster than a T-70. Yeah, it just makes you a little bit faster. The T-70 is almost as fast. You can chase for quite a ways, but in the end, the retreating squad will always get away. So now I'm sending my T-70 over to the right side, because remember there's an MG over here, and it turns out the Pioneers are also here, so this is not good. It's an indication of mines, right? It means there's mines over here, and yep, there they go. Luckily they didn't even do anything to the T-70. I expected them to do something, but they didn't actually do anything, so I was pretty lucky there. And where is this MG going? His base is the other way. There he goes. And he got one-shotted. 2 guys killed in 1 shot. T-70 does that every once in a while. The T-70 is just awesome. It's such an awesome unit. So at this point, I was pretty happy with myself using this T-70 quite effectively because I figured if I can kill enough of my opponent's infantry using this T-70 and kill enough of his MGs, then I'm going to win in the early game here, and I'll be done with the game. I will have won, and it'll be fine and dandy because just like in Company of Heroes 1 for me, about 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes into the game, my micro will just go down the drain. It doesn't happen as much in this game as it did in Company of Heroes 1, but it still gets worse after that much time in this game. So if I can end any game early, I will always decide to do that because it just makes it easier on me. So I'm sending my T-70 over to the left now because there's mines all over the right of this point, or on that point that I had on the screen for a very, very short period of time. And so I send my T-70 over to the left. I don't want to run into those mines because they're anti-infantry mines, but the T-70 is a light tank. I don't know if he can stand up to those mines or not. I may have just gotten lucky with that one mine that I ran over. I may have encountered like the normal stuff, like T-70 always survives against those mines or something. I don't know. But I wanted to be safe, so I sent it over to the left to take care of the MG on the left. In the middle here, you can see that my opponent has an Ostwind, and you can also possibly see that I have nothing to deal with this Ostwind. The T-70 will lose against an Ostwind. Ostwind's guaranteed to win that fight. So I have absolutely nothing to deal with it. I don't even have AT grenades, if I remember correctly. So I literally have nothing to deal with this. I didn't buy Molotovs, I didn't buy AT grenades because I wanted to get AT-70 out as fast as possible. Here you can see me buying, not Molotovs, AT grenades just now, so I didn't even have those at this point in the game. So I was just like, oh my god, my T-70 was going rampant and killing a lot of my enemies' stuff, but now his Ostwind is going to kill even more of mine, especially because it's coming to my base, and this is where all of my units are, basically. So this is not good at all. Luckily he's shooting at that MG, and spends time doing that. I have a Minesweeper Pioneer squad over on the right side at that point. It's much cheaper to build a Minesweeper and take care of those mines than it is for my opponent to place those mines, so I figured Minesweeper would be a very good investment over there on that point because of all the mines that will be over there. But back to the main issue at hand. There's an Ostwind sitting in my base, all of my infantry is here, so I finally get AT grenades, and I'm throwing an AT grenade, damages the engine on the Ostwind, and now I get the genius idea to take my infantry out of my base. The Ostwind is kind of stuck in here with the damage engine. I mean, not quite stuck in here, but it's kind of stuck in here. I'm going to leave this one conscript squad that I have in there because I want something to throw AT grenades at the Ostwind, and I have munitions to do it. I can just keep throwing AT grenades and kill it that way. I am kind of waiting on an AT gun, a ZIS AT gun, because that would be a much better counter to an Ostwind, since AAT grenades don't really do much damage, just like Panzerfausts don't do much damage. So something better than AT grenades and something cheaper than AT grenades would be nice. But I don't have the manpower for ZIS quite yet, but I am trying to save up the manpower for it. So here we can see a double base rape, which is what I almost called this game, but it wasn't really the main feature of the game, but it's pretty funny. Like, he's in my base, I'm in his base, he's killing my infantry, I'm killing his infantry. It's a double base rape going on right now. Who's going to win this base rape? I will not spoil it for you. You get to watch and find out. As you can see, my T-70 has a damage engine, his Ostwind had a damage engine because of my AT grenades, and I'm looking at these doctrines trying to think, okay, what can I get that will save me right now? I need something to kill his Ostwind, and I decided nothing would help me, so I didn't pick a doctrine quite yet. Time to throw another AT grenade, do some more damage to this. ZIS is building because I got the manpower, and now there's a Panzer IV out on the field. My T-70 is so screwed, so end result is my base rape lost against his base rape. However, because I was raping his base and all of his infantry was in there, as opposed to a single squad in my base, single conscript squad, I ended up winning that base rape in a way. Like, his Ostwind is just sitting there doing basically nothing. He is shooting at one of my buildings, and he is going to end up destroying it before my ZIS manages to kill this Ostwind. but I would still say that was kind of a win for me, even though my T-70 died first. Just depends on how you look at it, whether it's a win or a loss. But one of the things, remember what killed my T-70? A Panzer IV, so I still have to deal with that. I might be winning the base raping, but he has a Panzer IV now. He's probably about to send it to my base. He thinks, oh yeah, there's nothing that'll counter this Panzer IV. I can just send it to his base and kill his buildings like I did with the Ostwind. But then he noticed that I had an AT gun shooting his Ostwind. He tried to move the Ostwind, but it was too late. And then he stopped his Panzer IV over here. And luckily for me, the Panzer IV cannot see my mortars. Watch how good these mortars do against that blob of infantry my opponent has. It's hilarious. Because I bought 2 mortars, because mortars are so good in this game. And they're just blobbing, or they're hitting the blob of infantry that my opponent had. They did quite a lot of damage to my opponent there. That was just awesome. I got so lucky that the Panzer IV couldn't see my mortars. Even if it had seen my mortars, I wasn't going to retreat them, but I got so lucky that it didn't see my mortars, so I didn't take damage that I was willing to take, but it's always better not to take damage, even if you're willing to take it. So now I've moved up my AT gun, but now my opponent also knows that I moved up my AT gun because it's firing at infantry like an idiot. I wish there was a button that you could say, like, only fire at vehicles, only fire at infantry and vehicles. Maybe firing only at infantry would be a useless button, but firing only at tanks versus firing at both infantry and tanks would be a good button to have. Vehicles and infantry, not tanks and infantry, I should clarify. Because there are vehicles that are not tanks in this game. So now we have a slight base pin by my opponent, but he is definitely losing this. AT gun apparently cannot see this Panzer IV, so I'm trying to move it forward. But my opponent moves the Panzer IV before I can do that because he's being smart. He just retreated all of his infantry that was supporting the Panzer IV. You do not want to keep the Panzer IV there. Excuse me. So he's moving his Panzer IV over to the right side of the map. I am going to be placing a ton of mines over there at that right victory point because I don't really have any way to defend it. I just have a single Pioneer squad with a flamethrower, which is not very much. Or actually, is that the Pioneer squad with the Minesweeper? It might be the one that's over there at the bottom right VP. But I don't really have any way to defend it either way. So I figure mines would be a good way to defend it. And then I can even have my opponent triple capped for quite a while this game. That would be very, very good because I already have 2 VPs. I'm capturing the middle one for a third. If I can triple cap him, his VPs will count down very fast, and that will be very good for me. Both my mortars are still alive, so that is good. One of them is Vet 2, probably the first one I brought out, I assume. And now I'm pushing back my opponent out of my base. And if you look at the minimap, I basically have the whole map. My opponent has all of 2 points on the map right now. And so I'm sure he's feeling pretty pressured here. I mean, he might have killed my T-70 with his Panzer IV, but his Panzer IV does not have free reign like it used to at one point in this game because of my ZIS. My ZIS has removed his free reign. He's scared to take it somewhere, take the Panzer IV somewhere, that is, and because he might lose it. So he's scared. I'm pushing up on him. I'm capturing that fuel point he has, so all he'll have is 1 strategic point left over. But that's not really going to be enough for him. I have bought another T-70, by the way, and the reason for that was I figured I have enough AT. I've scared off his Panzer IV well enough that I don't need to worry about really having much more AT. I mean, I have AT grenades, I have plenty of munitions to use AT grenades, and then I have a ZIS. Judging by how much armor my opponent has, I think I have enough AT. There's also the fact that he doesn't have very much of the map, so he doesn't have much of a fuel income, so he's not going to have very many tanks, and so I figured I don't need more AT. So I need more anti-infantry, and so I figured a T-70 would be a good anti-infantry unit, because as we've already seen in this game, the T-70 is a very good anti-infantry unit. It's basically from Company of Heroes 1, it's like an M8, or the M8's replacement. Was it a Stockhound, I believe? Or was it the T-17? Or is the T-17 Stockhound the same vehicle? I don't know. I forgot. Somebody told me, but then I forgot, because I haven't played the game in so long. And because I also don't own Tales of Valor, and I don't see those units very often. But it's a really good anti-infantry unit, and so I figured a T-70 would be a good buy. I spent quite a while explaining why I bought a T-70. Maybe I shouldn't explain that in so much detail, but at the same time, maybe I should. Maybe it helps you guys. I don't know. I just talk like I talk, and you guys decide whether or not you like it. So as we can see, this T-70 is tearing up his infantry. I also have a conscript squad here, but that's not doing the tearing up. They have 0 kills right now. The T-70 is doing all the killing. The conscript squad's just there for support in case another tank shows up. I want to AT grenade it and then get the T-70 out of the way, because the T-70 will not win against another tank. I did end up retreating my conscript squad that was next to the tank, though, because it was one man down, it had lost some health, and healing in the base is much cheaper than reinforcing your men. So I figured it'd be a good idea to retreat. I don't expect armor to show up anytime soon over there near my T-70. My opponent's just really scared of what to do with his Panzer IV at this point. Here we can see me laying more mines. Like I said, I placed a lot of mines over there on the right side of the map because they don't really have any way to defend it. But even though I'm placing all these mines, my opponent is still taking that victory point. He has taken it, actually. And then hello, okay, infantry blob coming to my engineers, so let's just lure them into the mine. Perfect. I don't know what I killed with that, it gave me 50 XP. I don't know if that's a single man or a full squad or what, but I killed something with the mine, so it was worth the munitions cost, because I have 344 munitions. Russians cannot spend their munitions like the Germans. I find myself always floating in munitions when I play as the Russians, but when I play as the Germans, I find myself lacking munitions, wishing I had more. So, figured laying a mine was, even if I kill one guy, it's totally worth it. Always lay as many mines as you can as the Russians. So, at this point in the game, I was just like, okay, I've basically won against my opponent. Let's do another base rape with my T-70, but it's not going to be a double base rape this time because his Ostwind or his Panzer IV is not sitting up in my base this time. It's only me and his base, and I'm doing an IL-2 strafing run with its 23mm cannons. Sadly, though, he notices the smoke and he moves away. The strafing run kills all of 2 people. No, it kills 1 guy. Killed all of 1 guy. So it wasn't nearly as effective as I would have wanted for 240 munitions, but it did something. It scared my opponent at least, if nothing else. Because scaring is totally important in this game. Scaring him away a few meters, that's all. Yeah, that's totally not important. That is not important at all. I wish my IL-2 had done more, but it didn't. And then hello, Ostwind has shown up. Okay, time to get the T-70 out of there. I figured it was dead at this point. I went behind his buildings, but I figured it was just gonna die because it had a damaged engine. And so I focused here on the right side with my opponent sending forces over here. I see the Panzer IV behind the wall here. I actually saw it before when I was retreating with this squad, and that's why I even sent my 2 conscript squads plus a T-34 over here, was so I could throw 2 AT grenades, and then the T-34 could kill the Panzer IV, because Panzer IV versus T-34, the T-34 will lose. But if you include 2 AT grenades in that, then you might win with the T-34. So I figured I would come here and kill the Panzer IV because he wouldn't expect me to come there and kill it. He wouldn't think I knew it was there. So now we see the Ostwind here. My T-70 died quite a while ago. The Ostwind managed to get to the middle of the map at this point, so didn't take him very long. My T-34 has been Panzerfausted. This is not good. The Ostwind is somewhere. I don't know where it went, but I need to protect my T-34. So I take my AT gun, my ZIS, face it towards my T-34, and I'm hoping my opponent will chase me here, but it turns out he doesn't, or at least not yet. So my AT gun is just waiting there for the enemy to come, but it doesn't come anytime soon. So now my T-34 needs repairing. I don't know where my Pioneers are, but obviously I need to bring them over to the T-34. My mortars are doing a number on my opponent. Mortars are so good in this game. They're so much better than they were in Company of Heroes 1. I don't know what it is about them that makes them better, because they seem to have the same killing power now ever since they became not overpowered in this game. They were overpowered before, but not anymore. Ever since they nerfed them, they seem like they're the same mortar as in Company of Heroes 1, but for some reason they're more effective in this game. I do not understand it. I do not understand it. But anyways, they're really effective, and I am glad to have them. So now we can see that I have built an Su-85, which is a long-range tank destroyer the Russians get. And the reason for that was I figured, okay, my opponent is kind of getting map control back. He's going to start having a lot of vehicles here. I need some long-range AT that is not going to die to snipers or other small arms fire, like the AT gun can. So I need an SU-85, because those things are awesome. They have such a long range. So here we can see my opponent has lost his Ostwind. The SU-85's here perfectly in time. That Panzer IV is running away. He knows he's doomed. A T-34 and SU-85 and a ZIS shooting at it. He has no chance of surviving that. So he quickly got away. Smart move. But unluckily for him, I get to chase him. On the left here, I ended up retreating because my opponent had too many Panzer Grenadier squads there. And we're annihilating my Pepeshka upgraded conscript squad. So I had to retreat on the left side. On the right side here, my opponent's running away with that extra speed ability. I don't know what it's called, but it gives him more speed for munitions cost, and he used it very intelligently. If he had not used it, he probably would have died to that Su-85, so props to him for using that. He actually gets out of here alive. I try to bring my AT gun up to kill this Panzer IV, because I managed to give it a damage engine here with this conscript squad, but sadly the AT gun does not get the kill on him because the AT gun moves too slowly. My conscript squad on the top right of the map is pinned, so I hit retreat on them, and I now know that there's an MG somewhere up there. So I will need to deal with that in the future. The AT gun is a little bit too late, so I move it backwards, and I send my Su-85 over to deal with the MG that's on the right side of the map, because it's really the easiest thing that I have to deal with it. The T-34 is being repaired with the damage engine, so I can't really send that over reliably. Now, if you look at the mini-map, I have basically just driven a wedge into my opponent's line. He has the left, he has the right. I have the middle wedge, which happens a lot in this game for me. I don't know why it keeps happening. Maybe I just focus a little bit too much on the middle, but a lot of times in this game, I'll just have like the middle wedge against my opponent while he'll have the left and right, and then I'll go either left or right and take over that side as well, and then my opponent will try to take over the middle, and it just goes all back and forth. But a lot of the time, I have just a middle wedge. I don't know, maybe it's just my playstyle. Maybe that is all that is causing it. Who knows? So, what else is there to talk about? I have a lot of units, wow. I am not used to seeing that many units at the top right. I'm so bad at keeping units alive. Apparently I have gotten better about it though. I have definitely gotten better about keeping units alive. So, yeah, that's the result when you keep units alive. You get more units at the top right of your screen. More icons. So on the left here, we can see that I have a... No, it's my first T-34. It's my only T-34 so far. And I've sent it over to the left because I knew something was over there. I didn't know what. I don't think I knew what. So I sent my T-34 over there to take care of it. I figure the T-34 can pretty much deal with any enemy infantry that would be over there. And it does just that, but sadly he Panzerfausts it, and I don't have the conscript repair ability, so I have to send an engineer over to repair the T-34's engine again. It just keeps losing its engine. But at least I won the battle in the left side, and I'm once again going to take over some of that map, if not all of it. Now I have built an Su-76, as you can see, and the sole reason I built this was for the free barrage ability. I didn't want to spend the 60 munitions to barrage with the ZIS every time I wanted to barrage. I wanted the free barrage ability from the Su-76, so I've decided to barrage his base. And the reason for that was I figured I saw how clumped his infantry was when I sent my T-70 into his base. I saw that he doesn't move his infantry, spread him out when he retreats, so if I can just barrage in his base every time he retreats, he will lose a lot of units. And that is a very valid and intelligent tactic if you are able to pull it off, if you're able to get close enough to your opponent's base, because the range on the Su-76 is pretty small. Same with the ZIS, it's a very small range. But if you can pull it off, it's very much worth doing. Now here I'm being very smart. I have put my T-34 in the cap circle and then have my engineers repair it in the cap circle, so the engineers are capturing the point. Capturing a point while repairing the tank. That is a very smart thing to do. Something you could not do in Company of Heroes 1, but can do in Company of Heroes 2, and it's best that you use it. It's amazing what a difference it makes when you can just stand in a cap circle to capture it, rather than having to actually right-click on the point itself. It's amazing what a gameplay difference it makes. So now we have a big onslaught by my opponent. Remember I had that just like a huge wedge in the middle of the map? Now is his attack on that wedge. So I have lost an Su-76. It looks like there's a couple of tanks coming my way. It's 2 Panzer IVs. Lucky for me, I have an Su-85 and a ZIS. I figure, okay, I can easily deal with this. Let's just AT grenade these Panzer IVs so they can move really slowly, and both of my ZIS and Su-85 can take care of these Panzer IVs. And the first Panzer IV is down. The ZIS is Vet 3, but it's about to die here because it's going to get decrewed. There it goes. I would really like to keep that Vet 3, but sadly I couldn't. So both my enemy's Panzer IVs are dead, but now he has a ton of Panzer Grenadiers. Oh my gosh. I am glad I went with this doctrine that gave me Pepeshkas on my conscripts, because if I didn't have these Pepeshkas, I would be doing so much worse at killing these Panzer Grenadiers. But luckily I do have them, and I can deal with his Panzer Grenadiers relatively well. Well, there goes my Su-85, so I don't know who ended up winning that. I don't know how much a Panzer IV or an Su-85 costs. I'm pretty sure I lost that, though. Or actually, I may have won that, though, because I think 2 Panzer IVs are more expensive than an Su-85. So I ended up winning that, but my opponent's infantry is doing quite a number on my infantry. It's doing very well. Unluckily for him, though, I'm in his retreat path. I have a flamethrower and Pepeshkas in his retreat path, right in his retreat path, so I'm trying to kill units on retreat here. It was actually just lucky for me to have them there, by the way. I had forgotten I had those units there, and then I saw the dots on the minimap, so I moved over here. It's like, oh, I have units over here. But yeah, it was just lucky that I happened to be in his retreat path with infantry that was really good at close range. Because whenever that happens, and you know you're going to win a fight, then getting in his retreat path is a great way to finish off a squad. Sadly, though, I wasn't able to finish off any of those squads. I just did a little bit more damage, but it was still better than doing nothing. So here we can see a Pioneer squad that my opponent is ignoring, going up against a T-70 and a Vet 2 Pepeshka conscript squad. He didn't have a chance there. Luckily for him, he saw it before losing the entire squad, but he didn't have a chance there. So always pay attention, be everywhere on the map at once. Even though it's physically impossible, it's a good thing to do, if you can. Another Su-85, because I obviously need some form of AT. I have a T-34, a T-70, and now an Su-85. This squad is dying. They need a retreat. Oh my gosh. Have I retreated? I haven't retreated them yet. Why am I not retreating them? There we go. Oh yeah, I remember why I wasn't retreating them. I was wanting to make sure they didn't run the wrong way into the Ostwind when they retreated. That was why. I was smarter than I was now. Smarter than I am now. Yeah, probably. My English is messed up. My English always gets messed up in these commentaries. I don't know why. Anyways, back to the game. As you can see, I have a Guards Rifle Infantry squad, and they do have the DP light machine gun upgrade on the left side. My opponent has an Ostwind versus a T-34 and a T-70. Normally I would win this engagement with the T-34, but sadly my opponent has Panzer Treks and he's using them quite effectively. I was hoping my T-70 would take care of those Panzer Treks, but it didn't kill him fast enough. I got unlucky there, didn't score enough hits, so I ended up losing that T-34. My opponent's Ostwind has survived to live another day. My T-70 is in the process of dying over there, so I ran away to the far left of the map over there. Yeah, we can see this Ostwind annihilating my engineer squad. The T-70 is still in trouble. It needs to get away. There we go. I sent it over to the victory point and then my base, so it'll get there safely without running into enemies. I like the fact that you can right-click on the map so much, just like you can in Company of Heroes 1. But I also like the fact that you can now right-click points on the map and capture them, the minimap. It was a very good addition. Long range sight on the Su-85. Oh yeah. Nailing the Ostwind. I don't remember if I killed the Ostwind or not. I do not remember if I do, but I might. No, I think I lost sight of it. That was a really nice Molotov. That killed 2 of the men in that squad. That was a really lucky Molotov. Normally it kills 1 guy or 0 guys and the rest just burn. That time I killed 2 guys, so that was really lucky, like I said. My Su-85 is getting charged by something. I believe it's a Panzer Grenadier squad, so definitely backing my Su-85 up because it cannot kill infantry if its life depended on it, and a lot of times it does depend on it, so you should always just back it up when it is getting attacked by infantry. Now we can once again see another MG by my opponent. He just loved his MGs like so many German players these days. I don't know what's with all the MGs they're building, but they're pretty effective. It's like I said, their weak point is just the T-70. If I go for a fast T-70, those MGs are pretty much screwed because you have no AT on the field. And lucky for me, earlier in this game, that is exactly what happened. Unluckily, though, he built an Ostwind. So my T-70 was pretty much neutralized pretty quickly there. And as a result, this game ensued. So now we can see my Vet 3 conscript squad, my only Vet 3 conscript squad, fighting a Vet 3 Grenadier squad plus a Panzer Grenadier squad. I am pretty sure I'm going to lose this fight. I do have Pepeshkas, but those are not going to help me enough. So yeah, I'm pretty much guaranteed to lose this fight, but I do want to stay and fight because I have mortars barraging the opponent. With my mortar support, this is possibly going to be a very good win for me, and now it is going to be a win for me, yeah. Oh yeah. My mortars is helping me out so much. Their mortars are so good. They're so good in this game. If you don't build mortars, you're missing out on the power of mortars. Okay, my opponent's barraging me. How did that happen? He has a ZIS. That is how that happened. I was so confused when I played that. I was like, how is he barraging me? The Germans don't have a barrage ability. And then it turns out he stole my ZIS AT gun that he decrewed earlier. So that's how he's barraging me, and I was just like, oh great. You have a ZIS, that's going to be really good against my tanks. This is not good. That thing needs to get decrewed and back in my hands as fast as possible. So I've decided to charge up with guards rifles. Sadly though, there's an MG protecting his AT gun, so he's being smart. I should have expected that. But it doesn't work out for me because of that MG. So I decide to send in my Pepeshka conscript squad. I just lost a Vet 3 squad over there on the right, I am pretty sure. No, maybe that's later in the game, I can't remember. I lost a conscript squad over there on the right to that Ostwind. I'm pretty sure it was Vet 3 though. I know I sent a Vet 3 squad over there and I lost it at some point in this game. But I still have a Vet 3 squad, so maybe that was, I don't know. It was some squad. But anyways, I managed to kill the MG with mortars while the MG shot at my guards rifle infantry, and they gave my conscript squad here that I have selected a chance to go chasing after the ZIS AT gun to decrew it. I almost managed to decrew it, but then I'm down to very low health, and I was just like, okay, time to retreat, because I don't want to lose this squad. It's always a good idea to keep all your squads alive. And I have sent in a IL-2 Sturmovik airstrike. I don't know what it's called. The strafing run. But it doesn't actually do anything. My opponent saw the smoke once again and retreated. Just unluckily for me. I sent it in right where all the action was going on, so maybe it was stupid of me. Because if you send it in where all the action's going on, of course he's going to see the smoke. You gotta send it where the action is not going on. Like if there's a big battle going on somewhere and your opponent has sent a single squad to go capture a point, send in the airstrike on that point, because he's probably not going to be paying attention to it, and you might be able to kill the squad. But in this case, I was just really hoping to kill a whole bunch of my opponent's infantry and just win the game really quickly like that. But unluckily for me, he moved his infantry away, and now they are back. I was sending my Su-76 to go barrage his base, but as you can see, my opponent's infantry has come back. Did my Su-85 shoot the Su-76 there? It looked like it did. I'm going to pause the video and check. Okay, the SU-85 did not hit my SU-76. It looked like it did, but it turns out a Panzerschreck shot hit my SU-76 at the same time that the SU-85's projectile was going through my SU-76, so it's all good. No friendly fire happened there. But anyways, here we have the assault of my opponent's life. He is in a VP crunch right now. He has 59 VPs. He was triple capped earlier. So he definitely needs to push at this point, and that's exactly what he's doing. Unluckily for him, I do have a force. Luckily for him, though, it was a surprise attack. I was not expecting this. Maybe that's a... Yeah, that's when I lost the Vet 3 conscript squad. Yeah, to the Ostwind. So there goes my Vet 3 conscript squad. That was a terrible blow to me, but there's nothing I could do about it. But like I said, this was a surprise attack on me. I was not expecting it. Luckily, I had enough forces to deal with it. My opponent is pinning my mortars, but that's not going to do him any good. You can pin my mortars all you want, buddy. It's not going to make them stop shooting. So now we have a bit of an issue here. There's an Ostwind chasing my Su-76. I don't know who wins one-on-one. The MG's dead, that's good, but I don't know who wins one-on-one, Ostwind versus Su-76. So I have my my Su-76 run back to this Su-85 to get support, and I'm hoping to kill this Ostwind, but sadly for me, my units turned so slowly that the Ostwind got away. That sucked. So he did damage to me, I did some damage to him. But I didn't really do enough to make me happy. And now the Ostwind is somewhere behind my lines, and it could come up at any time and hit my units in the rear. So what I decided to do is take my Su-76 and go chasing after the Ostwind where I know it is, and watch as it tramples like bushes and stuff, because you can see that in the fog of war. If you can see the bushes crumpling, just getting destroyed, like they are right here, then you know where the Ostwind is, and I knew it was right here. I could see the road down here, so I knew if I saw it go past the road there, then it was going back to his base. Otherwise, it was stuck wherever I last saw it. And so here it is stuck wherever I last saw it. And now my Su-76 will kill the Ostwind, because the Ostwind is very low on health. I knew the Su-76 would win that battle. So we're good to go over there. I don't need to pay attention to it. I just have to focus on the middle. And I'm trying to crush with my T-34 here, because there's 4 Panzerschrecks firing at my vehicles. I do not want to lose vehicles. I want to make sure he cannot fire those Panzerschrecks, so I'm trying hard to just kill his units by crushing them. I don't actually know if the T-34 can crush. I think I got a crush there right at the end as it died. But I'm not actually sure if it can crush. Luckily, though, I only lost a T-34. He ended up losing a full Panzer Grenadier squad, and it was vetted as well, so he had a bigger loss than I did. Mine cost a bit more, but in my opinion, he got a bigger loss out of that because of the fact that he also spent 120 munitions on Panzerschrecks there. Plus the fact that it's 360 manpower for the squad, so it's quite the loss for him. But now we can see another AT gun here, plus 2 more Panzer IVs, and I was just like, oh my god, my Su-85 does not have enough health to deal with this. This is not going to go well. Su-85 goes down pretty fast. I've come to decrew the AT gun. Yes, it's decrewed. I have a Panzerschreck on one of my conscript squads, the left one on the screen there. Now it's in the middle of the screen. It has a Panzerschreck. I'm using it. I have another ZIS, which I built just in time. The reason I built it was because I knew I didn't have enough AT at this point, so I needed another ZIS, and look at me, I was right, because my opponent has a lot of tanks now. There goes one Panzer IV down to the ZIS. Use another AT grenade on this Panzer IV. Have my Su-76 plus the ZIS shooting at this Panzer IV. The Panzer IV is not going to survive with the damage engine. Over here on the right, at the same time, I need that squad to go capture points, because I need to start the VP drain, start the VP crunch, because the title of the video is the VP crunch. It's going well. I have the VP at the top left covered by an MG. It's a Maxim MG that the Russians get. And in the middle here, because I was busy doing stuff on the left and right, I managed to end up losing this battle. The two Panzer IVs did die, but I lost my Su-85. I lost a lot of individual men, possibly some squads, but I think it was more just individual men. And My opponent still has a what's that thing called? A Grenadier squad alive. This squad is so screwed. I sent them around the back hoping to nail like an individual lone squad with my opponent not seeing the squad coming, but that didn't work. My opponent had way too much infantry close to his base there. But as I was saying, my opponent had a Grenadier squad remaining and I had nothing to counter it, but then I noticed I had an MG, so perfect timing for me to notice that MG. It can deal with the Grenadier squad. I know my opponent is charging my back right now at this MG. He has to be. Then he retreats, so I immediately turn around my MG. I know he's charging my back. If he's smart, which he has proven to be so far in this game, he is going to be charging the back of that MG. And look at this, he was doing exactly that. Unluckily for him, he had to retreat before these squads could show up and annihilate my MG in SU-76, but he was doing exactly that. He was smart enough to go at the back of my MG. I knew he was coming with it. As you can see, the left victory point is covered by the MG, so I'm not really worried about that. I'm not even really paying attention to it. If you look at the bottom right, I have one squad that went and captured that victory point. I didn't bother with any other points. I went and captured the VP because I want the VP drain on my opponent because he's pushing on me here and he's succeeding at this. He's really killing a lot of my stuff. I'm killing a lot of his stuff as well, but he's killing a lot of my stuff and I don't like it. So I wanted to go ahead and end the game while I have an advantage. So I'm capturing the middle VP now. I have the left, I have the right. He manages to get behind me here, but I have an MG and it's only a Pioneer squad. I will still win this, so yay, I have won. Oh, wow. That was very difficult for me to micro there. I had to do so many things at once. Every time he pushed on me, it was just so micro intensive. He couldn't keep up, I couldn't keep up, that's why we both lost so many units, but I ended up keeping up better than he did in the end. Oh yeah. That was a tough game. But in the end, the fact that I sent this one Guards Rifle infantry squad over here to the right VP is what won me the game. I think if the game had gone on longer, I still would have won because my opponent only has 3 infantry squads. You can see him there at his base, one of which is Vet 3, no, 2 of which are Vet 3, so that's pretty good. I don't have any Vet 3 squads of infantry. I do have a Vet 3 mortar, but that's not quite as good. But yeah, my opponent only had 3 squads remaining. If the game had gone on longer, I'm pretty sure I still would have won. Unless he could somehow pull out a tank, that would have won the game for him. Because I don't really have much AT. I have AT grenades and an SU-76. I don't have very much AT at all. So yeah, if he had brought out a tank, he may have ended up winning, but the VP crunch got him. Anyways, guys, that is going to go ahead and do it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. He has just gone right past the house, ignoring this 3-man conscript squad and going straight over here close to my base. He has done his first mistake of overextending himself, and as a result, I actually